Now, changing the game, leveling the playing field for women in sports tech.
First of all, thank you so much, Josh, NCT, and WSC Sport for an amazing panel. And oh my God, I cannot believe that I'm finally live. It's been like an amazing journey so far. We've been over 6 hours of content, broadcasting, engagement, and a lot of networking happening. So thank you so much for joining us from wherever you are in the world. So I'm Fernanda. I'm the CMO of Coliseum Sport and also one of the big brains around behind this big event. So thank you. And wow, I cannot believe I'm here today to host this next session. And before we get into the topic we like to call leveling the playing field for women in sports tech, I'll just I will just run a short introduction of why we're here today. So it's nothing new that women are underrepresented in the sports tech market, but the problem starts way earlier. For example, girls drop out of sports participation 2 times more than boys by the age of around 14. Women earn 25 fewer computer and engineer bachelor degrees than men, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. Consequently, we have limited opportunities in the tech market, sports tech market. We face discrimination, and the list goes on. So that's why we're here today. And that's why it's so important to put programs like Women in Sports Tech in the spotlight. For those who don't know, Women in Sports Tech is a nonprofit driving transformative growth opportunities for women at all stages of their careers throughout the sports tech industry. So enough of me talking. Let's jump into our amazing panelists. I'll let them introduce themselves and get the ball rolling. So Alice, Melanie, Merlu, and Amir, thank you so much for joining me today. And the stage is yours. Sorry. Let's start with Alice.
So it's lovely to be here. I'm Elise Saul, and since we are all on this panel part of WIST, which is Women in Sports Tech, I'm the board chair of Women in Sports Techs, and I've got Mary Lou who's going to introduce herself, Amir who's going to introduce himself, and Mel Strong who's going to introduce herself.
Wonderful. Thank you, Elise. First of all, also thank you, Fernanda, and the whole group at Coliseum. We're delighted to be here and understand there's 50 countries represented on this call. So
So far.
I'm Mary Lou McFarland. I'm the CEO and founder of Women in Sports Tech, and I'm delighted to be here with our other board members, Elise, Amir, and Mel. And I'd love everyone to wish Mel a happy birthday today with chats, please. Happy birthday chats from all over the world for Mel today.
In all the different languages that we can get.
All of them.
Yeah, all of them.
Oh, I
Mel,
love it. Thank you. Yeah, I'm Mel Strong, and it is my birthday today. Apparently, we have a lot of December birthdays on this panel.
True.
I am the vice chair at Women in Sports Tech. I've been involved with the team for a handful of years now. I'm also the founder of a VC fund called Next Ventures, which invests in the sports and health and wellness space. And this is my passion, is finding ways to bring underrepresented people into the world of sports. And so I'm really excited to be with you guys and talk more about this topic today.
Awesome. Amir?
Yeah, so not my birthday, and I don't have a dog named Yogi walking around behind me either, which is exciting. But so Amir Zanozi, co-founder of Zoom and president there, and also on the board for Women in Sports Tech. Excited to bring the average down of this amazing group. I'm so excited for the listeners to hear all the amazing wisdom that's going to come out of this, but I'm pinching myself here. But excited for the conversation. This is a really important one, and shout out to Coliseum and this event, prioritizing a conversation like this. Good on you. So I'll shut up for now. Can't wait for these questions.
Thank you so much. Thank you all for joining. So Marilu, let's start with you. How did the programs at West change the game and both encourage women to enter the field of sports tech and sports tech companies, organizations, startups to change the radio? Like, how does it work?
Wonderful. So we've known from the beginning, and WIST has been around about 4 years, that we've known from the beginning that we wanted to create programs that allowed employers to do more than just talk the talk around diversity. And also, how could we create programs that would give them tangible results, but also introduce the young women and really women at any stage of their career to the opportunities that exist in sports tech? Because I've been in the business for the last 10, 11 years. I've mostly been in startups around sports performance. And it's super exciting to see the growth of where sports tech is today, to have venture capitalists like Mel at Next Ventures, our new partners at Shorewind Capital. There are a number of investors who are now also really dedicated to the opportunities here because they recognize how global and huge the opportunities are. So our flagship programs are really good timing. Our WISP Fellowship Program, we're entering our 5th year, and we offer $5,000 grants for college and grad students to get experience working in one of our partner companies from any number of job functions. So it's been extraordinary. Last year we offered 24 of these grants. And it's more than just writing them a check. So they get a mentor, they get invited to Zoom sessions. We very carefully match them with mentors and really provide more than opportunity, but the courage, the confidence, and the community that they need to go after these opportunities. And our host companies are out of their minds. They get to meet women that they never would have been able to meet. They're all rock stars. Most of them, they end up hiring them to stay on. So it's really rewarding for all of us. And obviously you can learn more about all of this on our website. We'll put that in the chat.
Yeah.
But we've also launched a WISP Next Gen program, which is focused on kind of the pipeline at even earlier ages. To your point, Fernando, we know girls, there's a social stigma around STEM at their earlier, high school ages, but also they quit playing sports. And we know that women, if they can see it, they can be it. Like it's just showing them what Mel is doing in sports tech, what Elise is doing, what Amir is doing. And this is important too. Our WISP community is half men, half women. So we wouldn't be where we are without our incredible male allies. And then the other 2 things, and I'll try to be brief, are we have a career hub called the WISP Network, which is the single source for diverse hiring in this business. It can be found at wispnetwork.org. Incredible opportunities there. Employers can search our candidate database. And then we also offer content, lots of original content that we call WISP Presents. And it's everything from a sports tech leadership series that Elise writes to our ongoing How I Got Into Sports Tech webinars. We have one this Friday that's called Technology's Impact on Female Athletes. So you hopefully can all join us for that with our partners at Aura, Caroline Kreider and Helene Gayam at Wild AI. So we create content as well. And we just created this entire ecosystem that allows employers, again, to get tangible results and bring women into the business at the same time. So it's rewarding beyond measure, really. We're up from 11 partners last year to 26 this year. So
Awesome.
Super excited to share it with everybody. And we're global. So the important thing too is we offer job opportunities on our career hub for people all over the world. I mean, sports tech is truly in every major market at this point, which is so exciting.
Exactly. You'll see with the 50 plus countries joining us today at the SGN, and we'll definitely leave the links on the chat so you can access and communicate with Marilu after. Moving forward and maybe jumping into what you said, I will start with Mel. Can you all speak a little bit about how do you find a voice and your power when you are in a room or environment where you find yourself the lonely one?
Yeah, absolutely. I grew up in the sports industry. So I was an athlete growing up. I ran cross country and track, and then have a degree in journalism. So I started in the sports writing space, became an editor at Runner's World, and then worked at Nike for 17 years. And so I feel like I was always grappling with my own sense of confidence. Like, do I deserve to be here? I look different than a lot of people in this room. I look different than my leaders who I report to. How can I still show up authentic to who I am? And I think that has been the most important lesson in my life, because I've failed countless times in trying to be someone else, like trying to be, I don't know, smarter, more dynamic, or more extroverted, all the things that I thought I needed to be because I didn't see me in the room. And what I love about WISP is there are now more me's, more people who have different backgrounds, who look different, who think differently, who also have a voice. But I've had to work with myself on just having confidence. I deserve to be here, and here's why. Here is who I am, like who's uniquely me, and why is that valuable to the project or the team I'm working with. And then I surround myself with lots of great mentors. I mean, honestly, one of the reasons why I wanted to join WIST was there were so many people I admired in this space, male, female, and otherwise, who were part of this community. So having mentors to go to be like, hey, like, I messed up. What do I do? Or can you support me in this room or on this issue, whether you're there physically or not? Like finding that network is really the whole reason why Mary Lou and team built WIST. And so it really is about those the access to support, the access to advocates, but then also the belief you have in yourself. So I think that's really helped me along my whole career. And I try to really create that space for other leaders in this chapter.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely. At least maybe you can continue as you are also a board chair at WIST and definitely has experienced some kind of situation similar to Mel. So what is your take on that?
So I have a very similar background to Mel in that I was a competitive athlete growing up as a kid, and then when I was in college, I started to play women's ice hockey, and so which was unusual at the time. It was before it ever became an Olympic sport, and then I went to work at the NHL, and there were very few women in leadership at the NHL, even though the NHL at the time was fairly progressive. But I can say that even though I could do my job at the NHL with my eyes closed, I probably would not have been hired at that time if I hadn't played hockey, because there was this thought process that in order to participate at a league or at a team level, you had to have grown up playing the sport. And obviously in the sport of hockey, there were not a lot of women playing. So I could have done my job without ever having stepped on the ice, but that was my credibility at the time, right? So the good news is that as time went on, I was at the NHL for 17 years, and there were other women who started to come in and started to rise. But to Mel's point, I didn't have mentors. And in today's world, the ability to have mentors and the ability to have a network is absolutely critical. And I know that from our WIST experience, the network that we bring, the network that senior women bring, that executive women bring, that STEM women bring, is very different from the network that exists in a lot of these sports ecosystem companies. And the diversity of thought and the diversity of experience and the diversity of networks is something that makes a company better. So the ability to educate the ecosystem about the value of who we are and the networks that we bring, I think is one of the game changers. And that's what we all here at WIST are trying to do.
Yeah. And Amir, out of curiosity, how do your role as an ally of this community comes along with this problem, with this issue that we're discussing here?
Yeah, no, purely selfish. I mean, like you'd have to be stupid to not be involved and want to work with some of the smartest women in the industry. I mean, honestly, and each woman on here, right? I've reached out for advice and they've blown my mind, and they think differently than some of my male mentors that I have as well. And so you really need that diversity of thought. You want people that see things, the things that you don't. And for men that are out there, right? Like recently, I had the joy and pleasure of joining ESPNW at an event, right? And there was probably 10 guys there, right? And it was flipped. I was the lonely only. And one, there's not a lot of Amirs in sports, in the world of sports either. So that's a different thing that I can understand and empathize with. But like going there and Thayer Lavelle from Wasserman, the collective, she had a piece that she put on SBJ. It's like more men need to show up. More men need to actually be at these events. And honestly, it's a little scary at first because you're afraid of, and maybe this is me and I'm childish, but like, what if I say the wrong thing, right? Like I have good intentions, but I don't want to put my head out there, put my hand in the fan. Maybe I say something stupid, but like, honestly, the impact of being involved has been tremendous on our company. We've had 3 fellows over the last 2 years through WIST, and they've been absolutely freaking amazing. And the recruiting and the amount of like talented women, like just from the programs and just how smart they are, it's just been outrageous in comparison to the men. We get a lot of men that reach out, right? Whether we have a job opportunity or not, but the women that reach out are just another level higher. and sometimes they don't even know it, which is so scary. And that's why WIST is here, right, to help change that. But as an ally, I've only benefited from being involved with this, and definitely encourage other men to get involved. It might seem a little nervous at first being a male, but there's a lot of men in WIST. But like going out and fighting for women's rights is just an easy thing to do, and selfishly, it's just there's only benefits that come as a result of it.
Definitely, and maybe getting the what Amir just said about Zoom and the amazing benefits that they got out of it. Mary Lou, what can be done to ensure that sports organizations, companies, and startups have inclusive cultures of belonging in which both men and women thrive, working side by side?
Well, it's such a great question, right? Because it's a lot more than just putting one woman or one person of color or one veteran or one disabled person on the team and you're good, you're diverse, everybody's great. Because currently opportunities for advancement are not still equal. Pay is often not equitable. And so the companies that we work with, I mean, I really want to give them a shout out because they're setting the standard, and the culture starts at the top with the CEO. And we're very fortunate to work with Will Lopes at Catapult and Samir Ahuja at Game Changer and Jenna Karath at Comcast, and all the leaders at Comcast NBCU have really embraced what we do. And we do offer a fireside chat to our partners called Culture Matters. And Stats Perform is another one really leading the way in this, because what we want to do is just open the door for conversations. So we at WIST, we don't do actual diversity training, but we open the door to the conversations that, to Amir's point, may feel awkward, or maybe a man is shy to share vulnerabilities about his communications, or he feels like he is not equipped or trained to really manage and lead a very diverse team. So we work really closely with our corporate partners on it. They really set the standard, but having a culture of where everyone recognizes we all have biases and they're unconscious usually. So how do we bring them to the forefront and address them, right? Understand that anyone that comes to the table has biases, but how you are aware of those and how you're thoughtful and how you communicate, how you celebrate differences in people, how you make sure that you don't ask a different question of a woman that you would ask of a man, which often happens for investors with founders. It's all part of the conversation that we have, and it's ongoing. And we're just delighted to have the true leaders of this business completely on this train with us. So, and to Amir's point, we say you're either going to address this with your team now, or you will later, because all the good people are not going to necessarily want to work with you. If you don't kind of address this now. I think last year really brought all of this. Yeah. We were kind of in the right place at the right time.
Exactly.
Yeah, I just want to chime in on that. Sorry, Fernanda. It's honestly, it makes such a difference. And when we got involved with WISP, we had little to no female applicants when we put out job offers, and we'd be like, oh, it's sports, it's tech, it's there's little in both. That's why, right? Easy. No, like for the manager. And honestly, it's like, no, that's a bullshit excuse. And sorry if we're not supposed to be cursing, but like it's BS, right? You have to go out there and you have to put yourself out there. And we've been able to hire 10 women in the last year, and it's been our business has never been better, honestly. And they contribute and make such an impact to the organization. And exactly what Mel said, earlier, and what Mary Lou said and what Lisa said is like you have to be out there in these environments. You have to learn, and you can't be afraid of crossing over that threshold. And it's for sports tech, I mean, it is a game changer for you to go out and have diversity and thought, like Elise was saying. The more diverse the input is, the better output is going to be, because you're going to have all those thoughts brewing inside and challenging them inside. So when the finished product comes out, it's better, it's ready, it's had other people look at it with that different lenses that you do. Mm-hmm. So I can't tell you how important it is to be in that environment, to have a safe place where you can have this consulting and feedback, where how you bring this internally and execute externally.
And there's research. That's the thing that I love about these conversations. This isn't like philanthropy, right? Like this isn't charity. If you have diverse teams leading your companies, as an investor, I should be investing in more female and diverse led companies, because guess what? They deliver 2 times faster returns than a traditional cis white male led company. They drive faster innovation. They have better culture. They retain their talent. I mean, the companies that thrived during COVID, which was a crisis none of us were prepared for, were largely led by female and diverse executive teams. And there's a reason for that. So, even despite this being sort of a feel good topic for a lot of folks, and I see that every day in the venture capital world, the reality is, even if you only care about returns, guess what? You still want to be investing in diverse and female founded companies. So, there just isn't an excuse. I think just getting that research data out there, if nothing else, in a forum like this is really important.
No.
And sorry, I know I'm the man and I'm hogging and I'm jumping in and all this stuff. But like, honestly, a lot of women don't realize how valuable or how impactful or how great of a leader they are. You know, there's Adam Grant. I can't count how many times Mary Lou has sent me like an Adam Grant book or a quote or a post that has really inspired me. Right. And he had this thing where, and so this is all him, not me, but he said that, at organizations that are creative and successful, you should argue like you're right and listen like you're wrong. And men typically do very well when they try to argue like they're right, but they do very badly when they try to listen like they're wrong. And just having that ability to kind of like shift that and do that within your organization is huge. It's impactful. And so like Mel said, it's like women leaders, they make and shame on us, right? We have to do better. And I'm here and I'm not preaching Zoom is, we have to have more female leaders at our organization. We don't have a lot, right? And so we need to change that as well. So I think it's being open and being accepting and understanding and not shying away from the conversation, but just being accountable and just saying like, we have to do better. I have to do better myself, right? But it's because of these women in this great organization and men that are involved that are helping us really understand this. And you have to jump in, and you can't just put a pinky in like, some of the VCs that Mel was talking about. You have to really embrace it. And when you do, it is insane. You're never going to want to turn back.
Yeah, and go. No, we love to hear. So, and going back into this content and all this research, we also have the content generated by the audience, that generated by this new generation. Alice, I'll bring you back into the conversation by asking, do you believe with this whole new generation of content, with new ways of engaging the fans and putting information out there, we are moving forward to a new reality of women in sports, is more specifically in tech?
So I think the question is not so much related to the content as who is writing it and who is listening to it. And the kind of long tail that it's generating. I mean, we operate in the creator economy where everybody has a voice, and that is wonderful that everybody has a voice. It becomes tangled when the people who are screaming the loudest are not necessarily aligned with how people, just as an example, the world in whist wants to be able to move forward. And so the storyline is more, if you're female, if you're a person of color, if you happen to be somebody who has a tech background and you want to engage in the world of sports, there is, because now sports is like every industry, the foundation is technology. You have a voice, you have an opportunity, and you can get into this vertical. And so it's not so much the content that's being created as much as who is benefiting from the content that is being created, and are people who have experience. I always say this, that whenever I'm like Mel, I invest in companies, and so when founders, particularly female founders, come to me and they're asking me 25 questions about, they were pitching to to men, and the men were like looking at their at any of the other men who the founders hired, and they're like, no, talk to our founder, and they're trying to understand why this is happening. And my attitude is experience. You have to speak from experience. Everybody can have an opinion, and opinions are meaningless. Experience with successful outcomes is what makes you relevant. So for all of the content that is being created, content that is relevant, that is research oriented, that is part of a conversation that moves everybody and every organization forward, that's valuable. Content that's just opinions, everybody has one, less valuable, less relevant. So, it's kind of a roundabout way of saying speak from experience, not your opinion, and recognize where your voice can have the greatest impact. So that in this kind of creator economy is the best kind of content that anybody can hope for.
Oh wow. I don't think we can top that off. Amazing words, and as we are coming to an end, I would just like to give you one last liner, one last message that you would like to give to our audience, and how this next girls that are the future female leaders, how can they access that, all of that, like be part of WIS? How does it work?
Well, I would just say welcome to WIST. I mean, everyone that's here is automatically welcome in this community, and it's super easy to join. There's no barriers. There's no friction. Like, you literally can just sign up on our website. We're building a community platform next year, which I'm excited to kind of tease to everyone. But make sure if you're an employer that you're talking with us about a partnership, about potentially getting all of your open roles posted on our WIST Network Career Hub. Essentially join us. I mean, we're here with open arms. We lead with love. We assume that everyone would like to be part of this movement and try to bake DE&I into the DNA of their business. And we certainly encourage and welcome all the women on this call who are interested in sports tech. We got you. Like, come on in. So much opportunity here for you, and we're excited to have the opportunity to tell everyone in the world through this platform today, Fernanda. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Mel. Last words.
No, Mary Lou wrapped it up. I'm just psyched that we just expanded our community, hopefully in the hundreds internationally here with this group today. So thank you all for being here.
Thank you so much. I'll make Mel's words mine. Once again, thank you for joining. Thank you for being part of the conversation. And let's continue the conversation outside. I will definitely be putting all the links below. And Josh, back to you. Thank you.